everyone, it's time again to recap the latest news from the solar PV industry, compiled by the American Solar Energy Society. I'm Jay Warmke with SolarPVTraining.com, and this is what's happening in the world of solar for the week of March 8th. Despite the rhetoric coming from Washington, D.C. politicians and changes in federal policy that favor fossil fuels, clean energy is poised to once again dominate new generation facilities installed across the nation in 2026. According to the latest estimates from the Energy Information Administration, based on existing permits, this year, solar will provide 51% of the new utility-scale electricity capacity slated to come online, batteries will deliver 28%, and wind will add 14%. Natural gas will make up only 7% of that new capacity, and there are no coal or nuclear power plants scheduled for construction this year, although the Nuclear Regulatory Commission recently issued its first commercial reactor construction permit in nearly a decade to TerraPower for a 345 megawatt plant in Wyoming, with a scheduled completion date targeted for 2030. As of March 2026, Utah is the only state that has actually passed legislation to legalize plug-in solar kits. In that state, these systems are considered an appliance and therefore do not require any special permitting. However, currently 29 states are considering legalizing these systems that are often referred to as balcony solar. Plug-in solar kits are small DIY systems that connect directly to a standard 120-volt outlet. The people can put them anywhere where the panels can receive direct sunlight, then plug them into a standard outlet and use the output to lower their electricity bills. States currently considering legislation to allow these systems include Colorado, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Illinois, Oregon, California, New York, Connecticut, Idaho, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Alaska, Hawaii, Maryland, Indiana, Iowa, Maine, Minnesota, Rhode Island, Oklahoma, Missouri, South Carolina, New Mexico, and Washington, D.C. In Georgia and Wyoming, the legislation was introduced but was defeated. Celestra, a renewable energy company, has begun construction on two large Texas solar projects, a 253 megawatt system in Lamar County and a 188 megawatt array in Hopkins County. Facebook parent company Meta has signed power purchase agreements for both of these projects. Construction began on both sites in January of this year, with full commercial operation anticipated by the end of next year. Together, the projects will support more than 400 local jobs, and in total, there will be 704,000 bifacial modules installed on over 2,400 acres. Increasingly, big tech is facing a pushback from voters as the massive build-out of data centers across the United States results in rapidly escalating electricity prices for residents that are located near these facilities. While average U.S. electricity prices increased about 28% over the past 4 years, those areas close to large data centers, such as Virginia, parts of Virginia, Ohio, and Illinois, have experienced much higher localized increases. Customers located near these centers have seen electricity costs surge as much as 267% over the past 4 years. In response, Amazon, Google, OpenAI, and other big tech companies met last week at the White House and signed what was described as a ratepayer protection pledge. The companies pledged to build and pay for the power and transmission infrastructure that their data centers need, whether or not they use the power ultimately, to also coordinate with grid operators on reliability, and to invest in the communities where these centers are built. This sounds good. However, many energy experts suggest that this pledge is nothing more than a PR stunt that will provide no positive benefits to customers. First, there's no enforcement mechanism. This is simply a non-binding and voluntary statement of goodwill. And secondly, energy regulation is almost exclusively handled by state-level commissions, so any agreement at the national level will have almost zero impact on local requirements. And Texas recently passed California as a state that has installed the most utility-scale solar. California, however, still leads the nation when it comes to solar installs if you add in rooftop solar. Texas has experienced explosive solar growth over the past 3 years, experiencing an on average 44% year-over-year growth rate. In 2025, Texas accounted for nearly 1/3 of all of the solar installed nationwide. Rounding out the top 10 states for installed solar are Florida, Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Georgia, New York, Virginia, and Illinois. And that's the news from the solar industry for this week. We'll see you next week.